Hello, potato. Today, we're going to talk about beans, specifically baked beans. Baked beans, well, that seems like a simple topic, right? But depending on where you are in the world, baked beans can be something entirely different. I mean, they're beans in a sauce, that doesn't change, but the flavor can change drastically based upon cultural palates. Here in the US, we have like Bush's baked beans. These things are practically a dessert. They are so sweet. I mean, you certainly wouldn't want to have them with your breakfast. You wouldn't want to have them with, egg, sausage, spam, beans, and spam. But, they're fine like with barbecue and stuff, which also generally, it can be a fairly sweet thing as well. But yeah, they're not something I would ever want to have on my breakfast plate, even though, admittedly, in America at least, a lot of our breakfasts could also qualify as desserts. This is just not a thing I generally want to have with like breakfast, or I wouldn't want to put this on toast. It's fine as a side with some like grilled chicken or something, but I would not ever think to put this on toast. I don't know that it would be bad. I mean, toast is kind of a blank canvas. You can put whatever you want on it. You can put chocolate on it. You can put cheese on it. You can put more toast on it. It's a very open canvas upon which to paint your culinary desires. But yeah, this, I don't know. When I think beans on toast, I don't think this. And then a couple of years ago, I tried, for the first time, Heinz Beans. Heinz Beans with tomato sauce. Now, if you are of the European persuasion, you may go, your can is misspelled, because Heinz means beans, but with a Z. And this does not. This is beans with an S, because we don't get all the other varieties of Heinz here to make the Z thing make sense. But these are actually made for the North American market, hence the North American nutrition label on them. And I mean, they're made in England, but they're made for us. And there are places, generally you can get these like at import stores like Cost Plus World Market, but sometimes if you have a particularly useful grocery store, they might actually have it in the beans aisle, although they will cost like twice as much as a can of those, because they are still imported from England. Now, looking at the ingredients, you wouldn't necessarily think these would be all that different. I mean, nutrition-wise you would, because this is 50 calories more per serving. It has more fat. It has more than twice the amount of sodium, but also has a little bit more protein. So you'd think from that, yeah, these are going to be different experiences, but if you just read the ingredients, they really don't seem all that different, other than the fact, of course, the imported ones have a much shorter ingredient list than the American ones. So in here, we have prepared navy beans, water, brown sugar. So the third item is sugar, which isn't surprising. Bacon, salt, mustard, modified cornstarch, onion powder. Got to put corn in there somewhere. It's America. We have to have corn something in it. Spice, garlic powder, natural flavor. And now the British version is beans, tomatoes, water, sugar, modified corn flour. See, I got corn in there too. Spirit vinegar, salt, and natural flavors. Now the thing, of course, that's missing foremost is pork. There's apparently no pork in this. So, I mean, but as of course, this of course has that big chunk. If you ever open the stuff, American baked beans almost always have this big, nasty, flavorless, floppy chunk of waste bacon floating at the top of the tin. And if you're smart, you throw that in the trash, or you give it to somebody you don't like to eat. And I don't know if I said it in the video, but a couple years ago I did some beans on toast videos. It's like a whole series of beans on toast, trying different kinds of Heinz beans, most of them with a Z on them, because they aren't made for the North American market and are like legitimate imports. And I don't know if I said it in the video or if I said it after the fact, and I think almost now that I may have been talking about the barbecue beans, actually, but I think I said the closest thing that I could think of to Heinz Beans was a brand I used to have as a kid. And this is like 30 years ago since I've had these. So my memory on these could be drastically off, and this could be a very disappointing video. But I seem to sort of remember Van Camp's pork and beans tasting a little similar. Now, of course, again, there's pork in this. There's not pork in this. So they probably aren't going to actually taste all that similar. I mean, I feel like I've totally misjudged things here. But what there is in this that wasn't in the Bush's Beans, and I realized that from reading off the ingredients, that the Bush's Beans, while it may have pork, it doesn't have tomato, is that Van Camp's is in tomato sauce. Now this is just with a tomato sauce, like they're separate or something. They're not, they're together in the can. This is in a tomato sauce. And the ingredients on this are white beans, high fructose corn syrup, because America, water, sugar, so corn syrup and sugar. Then there's some pork in there, baking soda, onion powder, natural flavors, artificial flavors, spice, calcium chloride, a firming agent. And it adds a trivial amount of cholesterol. There's words on here. Are there words on here? There aren't words. Well, there's instructions on here. It's no wonder Van Camp's pork and beans are one of America's favorites. Back in 1861, Gilbert Van Camp discovered something great when his wife Hester added tomato sauce to an old family recipe. Their son Frank perfected the taste by simmering premium ingredients to ensure a rich flavor and unparalleled product consistency. By 1909, Van Camp's was the #1 selling pork and bean brand in the United States. Yeah, well, you're not anymore. Honestly, I was almost a little surprised to see this still on the shelf. I thought it was like one of those things that just didn't exist anymore. So, but still, even though when looking online again, like how to make beans on toast, it specifically told me in a couple recipes, do not use pork and beans. That is exactly what we're going to do today here on Void of Intelligence. We are going to ignore the experts and make ourselves pork and beans on toast. And we're going to put them side by side with the proper, real, original Heinz beans with tomato sauce and see if there is any similarities. Now I'm going to make these in a very similar fashion. They'll be on the same type of white bread. We do not have any shredded cheddar or need any cheddar to shred, so I'm going to use some shredded Mexican blend we have. It has cheddar in it. It also has Monterey Jack in it, but it'll be fine. It's going to be fine. And then we'll put on some Worcester sauce, which I believe I did in the original video. But let's take a look at them in the cans first and see what we are looking at here. This can opener was from one of our Taste of Home boxes, and it apparently doesn't like this can. Now I know this can has a pull ring on it, but I'm not gonna, I'd prefer not to use the pull ring, but we'll see if that may not be optional. The pull ring is not, I think I grabbed the wrong opener. We have another opener that probably would have worked better for this. Oh, that's all jacked up now. Can we just get the lid off? Good enough. That'll do, pig. That'll do. So there is our Heinz. Very thin, very tomatoey. Smell kind of a light smell to them, a light flavor scent. Not a super powerful scent like you might get on something more American. But now let's see how the more American one does for us here. That's what you always want to hear when you open a can, is a hiss of gas. That lets you know it's fresh. All right. Now, see, looking at these, you wouldn't necessarily expect them to be that different. The American Van Camp's here is a little paler in color. It's not as richly red. Put them side by side here. It's maybe a little thinner. I mean, they're both pretty thin, but this feels like it may be a little tiny bit thinner. And scent-wise, what do they smell like? Do they smell different? I mean, that smells like pork and beans. That smells more tomatoey. Smells almost a little sweeter. What's the 120 calories per serving, still half a cup, so same serving size for each. So it's kind of a midpoint in calories between Heinz and our non-contending Bush's here. We're not putting that on toast. That was just here, for example. The sodium is, again, kind of a midpoint. It's 70% of your day. This was, I believe, 11%, and this was 26%. So it's saltier than Heinz, but not as salty as Bush's. Protein is the same as Heinz. So yeah, I feel like I've misjudged here. I feel like these are not going to taste even remotely similar. But you know, we're a good 10 minutes into this video, so I'm not gonna cut back now. We're gonna go ahead and make ourselves some beans on toast using Van Camp's and Heinz, and see if there's any flavor similarities, and ultimately which is better. I said I really did quite like the Heinz. We tried them before, and I really wish they were more reasonably priced, or indeed available in a large box at Costco. That would be nice. Anyways, I'm gonna go and make some beans on toast using each of these, and then I'll come back and we'll do a side-by-side comparison. And we are back with two nearly identical portions of beans on toast. Over here in the slightly less vivid, less red sauce is the Van Camp's pork and beans. Over here in the slightly redder, although honestly on the toast, it's not quite as obvious as it was in the pan, but the slightly redder Heinz Beans with tomato sauce. Each are on an identical piece of toasted white bread. Each have gotten a sprinkling of the Mexican shred cheese and then popped into the broiler just to get it nice and melty. And each has been given a nice little loving coating of tomato ketchup. I decided against Worcester sauce just because I figured the ketchup's not going to like run all over the bread as much, and probably overall a better eating experience. So they look similar enough. They don't smell the same. So I suspect they're not going to taste the same. I suspect this was really all for nothing other than an excuse to make beans on toast for lunch today. But also now I'm stuck with Van Camp's on toast as well, which is, well, we'll see how that is. I suspect not as good. So here is our original Heinz beans and toast. We got some cheese in there. We got some ketchup on there. Got the whole thing in one bite. Let's get it out before I pour it all over the table. Yep, that's nice. I maybe put a little too much ketchup on it. It kind of overrides the flavors a bit. But still, a nice, lovely, warm, filling lunch, which would probably be better if it were colder. Outside, not colder beans. Colder beans would not be better. But colder outside would probably make this a much nicer lunchtime meal. Now let's try our Van Camp's. Try to get, again, everything into one bite. Got ketchup, we got cheese, we got beans, we got toast. Now, does this taste, one, even remotely similar, and two, is it reasonable enough substitution rather than buying the much more expensive imported Heinz beans? Let's give it a try. So yeah, as I was kind of coming to suspect through the process of this, these do not taste like Heinz beans basically at all. The texture is about the same. They're both beans, but flavors are totally different. The flavor of our Van Camp's here is much more in line with the flavor of our Bush's beans. Now, I would say not as sweet, but definitely much sweeter than the Heinz beans. You can taste where that calorie count is coming from in there. So yeah, I should have listened to the instructions online that specifically said, do not make beans on toast with pork and beans. That's how you learn things. You either try them yourself, which is what I did, or you listen to people who are smarter than you, which is what I didn't do. And I realistically I probably should have, but of course if I had, then we wouldn't have this video and you wouldn't be watching it now, and presumably you find this somehow interesting, otherwise you wouldn't still be here like 15 minutes in. So yeah, as a substitute for Heinz Beans, no, absolutely not. Much sweeter. I don't necessarily taste the porky flavor, but it's in there. I can smell it more than taste it. But yeah, for me, it just does not fill the same space that Heinz Beans does, which again is unfortunate because Heinz Beans do cost like twice as much. And unlike, in the UK, you have options of like generic store brand versions. We don't have that here, at least not that I'm aware of. If you, the viewer, are aware of an American equivalent to Heinz Beans, beans with tomato sauce, Heinz Means Beanz, please let me know in the comments of what brand, where to get them, something less expensive than Heinz, but that tastes more like Heinz. Short of just, making them myself, which, that may be something to try in the future too. But yeah, if you know of an American equivalent of Heinz Beans, please let me know in the comments. But this is my lunch, so I'm going to go and finish it now. Maybe add an egg to throw on top of it, I don't know. But I'm going to finish it. And I won't be making the mistake of using pork and beans for beans on toast again. I hope you found this at all interesting or entertaining. If you did, go ahead, give it a like, subscribe to the channel. And again, if you know of an American equivalent of Heinz that I can get for less money than imported Heinz, please let me know. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.